I see when I see a van? Big old dollar sign. Hey, what you thinking here? I swallowed it. Locked and loaded. Doggy dog in the motherfucking...
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the brand new Netflix action vampire film, Day Shift. The film is directed by J.J. Perry and it stars Jamie Foxx, Dave Franco. We've got Carrie Souza, Steve Howe, Scott Atkins, Snoop Dogg and Peter Stormare. Now the film focuses on Jamie Foxx's character, Bud, who essentially hunts vampires for a living. He has gone rogue, essentially, because he's been kicked out of the Union, it's called, which is an official company that pays you, essentially, to hunt vampires as a day shift and a night shift. He needs some money fast in order to stop his wife taking his daughter out of LA and moving elsewhere. So he needs, I think it's about 10 grand quickly. So he tries to get back into the Union because that's the only way to really make big money fast. They give him one more chance. He is set loose on the day shift because they refuse to give him a night shift because he's too unpredictable. And he's partnered up with Dave Franco, who is a paper pusher, basically, who is assessing him on his return to the Union to make sure that he doesn't break any rules. However, there is a master vampire out there that is after Jamie Foxx's blood after he killed someone close to her. Right, what are my thoughts on Day Shift? Well, while I was aware that this film was coming out on Netflix sometime in August, I didn't watch a trailer for this one or anything leading up to it. And quite frankly, the reason for that is I wasn't particularly psyched or interested about this film. It's a film I knew that I was always going to watch, probably, because any big Netflix release I do tend to try and watch. But I have to say, after watching this, I was really quite pleasantly surprised. This is a super entertaining film. It's one of those films, if you like, that can easily be picked apart by critics. It's one of those films that if you go into this film wanting to hate it, you will hate it because there is an awful lot wrong with it in that sense. It's got sloppy dialogue. It introduces characters very, very sloppily. Tonally, it's a little bit odd. I mean, I could literally go on, and write almost a shopping list of some of the things that are wrong with this film. And honestly, when this film started, initially, I was getting the feeling I wasn't going to enjoy it. I thought it was a poor introduction to Jamie Foxx's character. It goes straight into the action. He kind of breaks into this house under the guise of a pool cleaner, and it's actually a nest for vampires. So you're thrown into this admittedly impressive action sequence with him fighting this elderly vampire. But you've no idea. There's no world building. There's no setting of the scene, introduction of the character, anything like that. So you're not invested in it. It's just flashy for flashy's sake. And I wasn't buying into it. And it probably, after about 15, 20 minutes, I started to get into this film. And it was initially when he gets partnered up with Dave Franco, I started enjoying the film because they had great chemistry. They're like chalk and cheese characters wise. Dave Franco's essentially the comedy sidekick, you could argue here. And he does it quite effectively. He's a pen pusher and a wimp. The exact opposite of the Jamie Foxx character, but the characters really complemented each other, and I started getting the humour at that point. And I started relaxing into the film and just thinking, do you know what? I'm actually quite enjoying this. And the action is undoubtedly spectacular. I mean, I think it's made from the same people behind the John Wick films, and you can absolutely tell. I mean, some of the action set pieces are incredible. I'm not You could argue they don't necessarily belong in a vampire film, but they do work. I'm not one of these sometimes that likes to see vampires doing acrobatics and martial arts moves and stuff like that, which you do get a little bit of here and there. I'd rather, if you're a vampire, they kind of play to the vampire strengths, which obviously is superhuman strength and all that kind of stuff. And they don't necessarily do that. It's almost like there's a few sequences in the film where it's like a video game. It's like mowing down waves of vampires. And for me, one of the standout scenes in the film is the one that involves Scott Adkins and a guy that plays his brother. I'm not sure if it was Steve Howe. I think he played his brother. They play like these, like Russian or Ukrainian, I'm not sure which, like vampire hunters that team up with Jamie Foxx to take down this massive nest. It is incredibly choreographed, and it was a joy to watch. Scott Adkins was awesome. And I wanted to see more of his character. I really, really did. The end sequence when they get to this big battle at the end, I was like, okay, when's Scott Adkins and his brother going to turn up? Because I just thought they were fantastic. And for me, that was the best standout moment in the film. I was engaged throughout. I was entertained throughout. Yes, it's definitely silly. And it gets a little bit silly by the end because it becomes really quite predictable. You know, he's got a wife and an 8-year-old daughter. Guess what? They become in danger. Of course, you could see it coming an absolute mile away. And another big issue that I had with the film was the head vampire was literally not memorable in any way. I think they did a poor job with the vampires, even though they looked cool, the vampires. I think they could have put a bit more effort in, like building up the threat of the vampires, and certainly given us a more impressive villain that we got. I mean, she was essentially a real estate agent. Her big plan was almost like Lex Luthor-ish, you know, buy up land and take over that way. It was just really dull. And so I would have liked quite a lot more world building around the vampires, you know, where they are, with the origins of them and all this kind of stuff. And there was a little bit too much daylight stuff as well of them, you know, fighting vampires in the daylight, you know, when they had blacked out cars and sunblock on and all this kind of stuff. And it's just like, come on, guys. But I guess what they were trying to do, I suppose, is break them all a little bit and just give us like a balls to the wall vampire action film, and in that sense they succeeded because I was super entertained and I really did have a fun time watching this film. Yes, it's silly, it doesn't make sense, and if you go into this film not wanting to like it, trust me, you will not like it. But if you go into this film, click your brain off and think, I'm ready to be entertained, you will be entertained, because I really had a lot of fun watching this one, I'm not going to lie. So I'm going to give it a solid 8 out of 10 just for entertainment value. Yes, the film is flawed, no doubt about it. But when the film finished, I had a smile on my face and I thought, yeah, I enjoyed that. And it won me over because initially I didn't think I was going to enjoy it anything like as much as I did. So that has to count for something. So thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed my review. I will be back with more content on the channel very, very soon.